see you received the free ticket I sent you. I'm glad. I did so want you to be here. You see, it doesn't matter if you catch me and send me back to the asylum. Gordon's been driven mad. I've proved my point. I've demonstrated that there's no difference between me and everyone else. All it takes is one bad day to reduce the sanest man alive to lunacy. That's how far the world is from where I am. Just one bad day. You had a bad day once. Am I right? I know I am. Why else would you dress up as a flying rat? You had a bad day, and it drove you as crazy as everybody else. Only you won't admit it. You have to keep pretending that life makes sense, that there's some point to all this struggling. God, you make me want to puke. I mean, what is it with you? What made you what you are? Girlfriend killed by the mob, maybe? Brother carved up by some mugger? Something like that, I bet. Something like that. Something like that happened to me, you know. I'm not exactly sure what it was. Sometimes I remember it one way, sometimes another. If I'm going to have a past, I prefer it to be multiple choice. My point is, I went crazy. When I saw what a black, awful joke the world was, I went crazy as a coot. I admit it. Why can't you? I mean, you're not unintelligent. You must see the reality of the situation. Do you know how many times you've come close to World War III over a flock of geese on a computer screen? Do you know what triggered the last World War? An argument over how many telegraph poles Germany owed its War Department creditors. Telegraph poles! It's all a joke. Everything anybody ever valued or struggled for, it's all a monstrous, demented gag. So why can't you see the funny side? Why aren't you laughing?
Alright folks, welcome back to Comicgeddon. I'm John Wise here with...
I'm Hailey.
And last night we had an awesome opportunity to watch the Batman, The Killing Joke at our local movie theater. So, kudos to the theater for letting us literally steal these.
Well, it felt a little deserved after we had sat there for quite a while with just audio.
The movie's supposed to start at 10. So we get there, we're there about a half hour.
We got there around
9:30.
Starts at
10. Well, 10 o'clock rolls around, and then we get a countdown meter that says we have to wait another half hour.
Yeah, it literally had a timer that popped up that said 30 minutes, and it started counting down, and we were already getting restless at that point because it was 10 o'clock. So we anticipated, okay, maybe a few previews, and then the movie would start. So then the thing went, and it seriously lasted for 30 minutes. There was this big guy on there at one point. I mean, tall and all that
In
stuff.
like jeans and a t-shirt.
And jeans and a t-shirt, and the volume was incredibly loud. It scared the hell out of us when it popped up.
We were probably kind of loud.
We were all being loud after a while because it ended up becoming a thing to where I was like, all right, seriously. Plus, there was only about maybe 10 people in the theater.
This is probably close to about 15 people, maybe.
Okay, 15 people. And
There were a lot more during the first showing, though.
There was a lot more in the first showing. It's a rated R movie, so we were kind of already just all talking and we were all adults.
We were ready to see it.
We were super excited, and then the WB animation screen pops up. We finally were like, oh yay! And then they go into the history of Mark Hamill becoming the Joker,
Which I actually enjoyed.
I loved it.
I thought it was pretty
It was really awesome, but we really kind of anticipated something like that to be after the movie.
Yeah.
So
it's also maybe something we're gonna end up seeing on a Blu-ray anyway.
yes,
And after the movie, we got another like special feature that would probably be on the Blu-ray.
yes.
Where they talk about the music of the movie.
They talk about the music. They also talk about in a feature that it said on the poster was the creating the laugh or making the laugh.
Making the laugh.
Making
No,
the
that
laugh.
was the Mark Hamill thing
Yeah.
at the beginning. Those were kind of cool extras at the to see at the theaters. I mean, you don't normally see. Again, I'm assuming these are also going to show up on the Blu-ray edition.
I hope
of the
they show up on
movie.
the DVD because I'm very poor and I don't have a Blu-ray player. So, but most likely they won't.
But let's get to the meat. Let's get to the meat of the sandwich here, the Killing Joke itself. First off, we're gonna go over the very much controversial opening of the movie, which is pretty much a half hour of Batgirl and Batman's kind of mentor relationship. He's the Batman we all know. It's his way or the highway.
Yes.
And it's that way. We find out that's that way for a reason.
And Batgirl is very much, as always, very independent and feels that she is
She's
equal
still having
to
fun.
Batman.
She's
She's
still
still
having fun.
having fun, but she also feels that she is an equal to Batman because of her. So, getting to the meat of it, like we said, we had...
Okay, yeah.
had
So the Batgirl thing, we were on the Batgirl thing.
Batgirl being very independent and feeling that she is equal to Bruce.
But she was still having fun, which
So she
Batman
didn't-
does reiterate to her. That's why she's not his equal, because she's still having fun, so they gained to her.
Yes.
And he's already been to that place to where...
And it gets to a point to where this is 3 years into their relationship of working together, and Barbara, you know, there's because they talk about it's known, but spoiler,
kind of seeing each other.
well they eventually hook up.
We'll get to that. We'll get
well,
to that.
it's getting.
I mean, the reason why Batman's really on her ass about this is because she kind of finds her Joker in her.
Was that pun intended?
It was. And that pun was intended because we've already started mentioning it. There is the controversial scene a lot of people were upset about, and that's the fact that her and Batman do get it on a rooftop.
In costume. They actually were in costume, which kind of made it interesting.
Up until she.
Yeah, she does strip off, and you do see her in a bra.
Yeah.
So it's.
You do at one point you see her in bra and panties. I mean, again, this is a rated R movie. This is
Yes, it's a rated R movie.
And I just want to say that I was really excited to see this in the theater last night because this is the second time only a
He was
Batman feature film.
Excited.
This is the second time a Batman movie was featured at the theater. The last one being Batman Mask of the Phantasm, which was a PG-13 movie.
And it's still one of my favorites.
It's still
Mask of Phantasm. And they actually
And
even mention
this
it.
did kind of have
in
a
the
Phantasm feel to it.
It really did. But all this stuff, everybody was wondering why they added all these things with the pre-story.
It wasn't to add another female element into a movie, because that's what a lot of guys do. Oh, it's just to throw another female element in a guy movie.
It did kind of give that, but not so much as like that wasn't the point of it.
Because everybody who's read the book knows that at some point Barbara does get shot. And it was because of that she finally went to that breaking point that Batman was telling about, that she decided no longer to become Batgirl.
Yeah, it was very relevant in the story. It's a very big setup, and it also really establishes, Bruce feeling almost.
So that part where she does get shot, you do kind of connect a little better with her.
Yes.
In that sense.
And also going back to the Joker thing about her finding her Joker. There's a guy that is immediately interested in her and all this.
Paris France.
Paris
France was his name.
And he's this real douchey guy.
Kind of a slime ball.
Really.
Oozy. Just,
and
he does.
She took it personal in a sense of because he kept flirting with her very openly and blatantly. And so in that, she formed this kind of personal relationship because he was saying, "Oh, you're better than this, and you can do this. You're all this really
much like Joker to Batman."
Yeah, really egging her on
Yeah.
to, oh, well, you're the great girl
I bought a
detective.
present for you.
And all this.
Very Joker-esque.
Yes, and so it became
I think Batman was
personal.
trying to hint at her that, hey, this is, me and Joker without coming out, hey, saying, which probably might have helped if he did do that. This one time it probably should have been like, not,
Listen.
yeah.
But it really set up a thing of like because Bruce does say, I've been to the end of the abyss. I've seen where there is no hope. And it ends up leading into that to where Barbara sees that. And that's what directly leads to her quitting.
And these are big spoilers, by the way. Anyone who watches the show by now should know that there is spoilers unless we say otherwise. She does go to finds herself in the abyss because...
Well, we didn't say how.
Well, I'm about to.
Okay, spoiler then.
Sorry, Shannon. She does find out that you can only protect the city, or you can protect the one you care about. You can't do both, and that's what Batman was trying to tell her because of the sexual relationship that they did have. She's very emotional about Batman. She wants
and there's even a lead up
attachment, and
there's a lead up to even her attachment of her talking with her friend about this yoga instructor she's seeing, and so it's really sets up her kind of showing I have these feelings and all this stuff, and
I guess
it
I didn't
builds.
spoil anything for you, Will.
It builds into that, and eventually, they do have the hookup, and it leads into a thing of, so we hooked up, but now what? And so then it leads into him saying, Bruce has said over and over through this whole time, back off from Paris, and because it's getting too personal with him. And then it leads into to where it then becomes personal about
It does
Bruce.
become personal. Bruce. He does go to the abyss, decides that she's no longer going to be Batgirl.
Yes.
And then it flashes forward, and we get
It only flashes forward a week, actually. It
yeah.
takes 1 week between that and this.
And this is what we get. It takes about 25-30 minutes to finally get to this.
And it was worth it. I think it really built up to it, and it really felt like it worked in the universe.
Yeah. The movie is almost...
it's almost as if they really storyboarded a lot of the animation and
it's
stuff.
not as storyboarded and not directly taken, say, as The Dark Knight Returns that they did. Because that was almost shot for shot, panel for panel. And they did take some liberties.
They took a little bit, but
I think
all felt right.
My biggest beef, I think, might be the animation. I loved the animation, don't get me wrong, but I would have loved to have seen it more like this.
Yes, as we have in here,
I would have loved to have seen this scene. This scene was this. He does say this in the movie. He does say this in the movie, but it's not that particular picture. I would have liked to have seen it because I always liked that picture.
Yeah, that picture is probably one of my favorites.
I'll show you my favorites here, and I actually it's during the Looney song, which they do in the movie. I was so freaking excited.
They do the Looney song, which I have only read this, and I didn't really read it as a song.
Now this picture right here ends the Looney song. And I actually drew this. I copied it.
Yeah,
I drew
they
that.
do a very...
I'll have to bring that in. I actually drew that. But they did end the song with that, and it was really cool.
But we can go through, and it literally, of course, the iconic scene where he comes in and literally talks about how one of them will end up killing the other. And that was a very intense scene.
By the way, first Predator.
This is the first
Shannon has one. She has one. I don't have one. Now I do.
So speaking of killing jokes, I'm gonna kill that one. But
Mine's like 11th print.
But yeah, they do a wonderful cameo, which shows up in the comic of Harvey Dent, and they did add a little feature to that. That was
pretty
really
cool
good.
because you see his coins on the ground, and he's reaching through the door, scratching. You see it a hand scratching that door in the trailer. Then you find out that it is Harvey Dent, and he's trying to reach those coins.
But
fell on the floor.
they do it in order to where they have this scene right here, and they go into the flashback.
Yeah, the flashbacks
and they do the flashbacks, and then it cuts back to him staring here and talking to this part where the guy, the carnival owner, sitting on the little elephant thing was hilarious. It got a great laugh. And it was done it looked actually even creepier than what's in here.
I mean, if you've read the book, you know what you're going to be seeing.
Yes.
On the Blu-ray, or it's available today digitally
on iTunes.
So if you can't wait until next week, what I want to go over the little itty bitty Easter eggs that they had.
Okay, and that actually is where this is going into here. This very next page, to where it shows Batman looking at the computer of the history of the Joker, and it was
so many cool Easter eggs because we got pictures.
There was a total of 5 pictures of Cross.
Was it 5 or 6?
I think it was 5.
We got images from his first a redrawn image of his first appearance with holding the card and that smile.
Yes.
We got the first thing I noticed was this particular Joker, but it was the Jack Nicholson stance from the movie where he's on the beach
in the chair.
We got it somehow.
It was
I don't
beautiful.
know how this fits in this particular present day movie, but there's the Laugh Taffy Factory from Batman Beyond.
Yeah, which was really
Joker.
Cool. And then there was one that he missed, but I caught was actually the Heath Ledger Joker sitting in the jail cell.
And I guess
where he does the clapping, and it shows this version of the Joker.
And I guess Billy saw
that
Cesar Romero Joker.
Yeah.
So this is something I'm definitely gonna have to pause.
There was also they did a reference to the Joker fish, which is one of the big storylines.
And we have different Batmobiles. We got the Batmobile specifically, I think, for the movie. But then we got, towards the end of the movie, the Batman animated series Batmobile shows up.
It wasn't in there for very long.
No.
But it was there, and it was so cool.
So, I mean, they threw, and those are just some of the Easter eggs in this movie. Again, this is available on Blu-ray next week. It's available on digital download today. If you didn't get a chance to see it on the big screen last night, sorry. Yeah, should have done, yeah.
Well, they didn't advertise it very well. We only knew because we actually went and saw Ghostbusters just previously, and they had the posters up, which we so happily acquired by means. But the scene, of course, the big scene that I feel is very important to this book, with Barbara getting shot and then immediately paralyzed, was so beautifully done. It was
very creepy, yet you can't help but laugh at the fact.
He's making all the jokes that are written in
the coffee
here.
table joke. She wants to be a coffee,
She wants to be a coffee table edition. She is.
The book of the spine has a hole in it.
Yeah. The spine appears to be damaged and all this stuff, and then it literally.
And Shannon's over there just like.
And then of course the one part where he says, "Here's the crime," that was done. So creepy.
And
what about the last joke of
we're getting to that.
Well, we might as well go ahead because it's not really.
Well, there's one thing I think is also really big is they have the tower with the baby dolls, the throne. Looked so good. It was amazing. It looked just fantastic, and they literally animated, of course, these the kind of little creepy little people.
There was also a scene where they're saying, "Throw the book." And in one of the stands is actually one of the characters from Todd Browning's Freaks.
Yes.
One of the Coneheads.
Which was really interesting. But they animated so many of these characters to look just like these. And then, of course, there was the song that we already talked about. And they animated all the screens. And so we got a full...
They actually did
a full song and dance.
They actually did a musical number.
They literally done it like it was a Broadway song. They put the work into it like they were doing.
They hired a Broadway musical professional.
Yeah, they did. They wrote it in there, and you know what? The song was just—it was perfect. It was the perfect
creepy. It was the perfect fun,
and it was perfect Joker. And then of course Mark Hamill. We of course not ever heard him sing as the Joker, not like this.
I think he has in the past.
He's sung a few times, like the Batman smell.
Yeah, the first appearance he does the Jingle Bell Batman smell song.
But
I didn't disagree with that. Batman Arkham City, where the Joker died.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. But the first time there was that, and then there is that. But he's singing soft.
Not like that.
Shannon's talking about, of course, the end credits, super creepy and really heart heavy, in my opinion, song at the end of Arkham City, which is just, it's wonderful. I love it. But this is a full musical number, and of course, Mark Hamill has to sing it out. They showed footage of him recording it, and he's standing and emoting and doing all this, and it just was so awesome. It was so perfect. And Mark Hamill is truly a gift to the world. But we go through, and then of course, that's actually, they didn't do any of that, actually. They didn't show the penguin, which is in there, but he does go looking for people.
Yeah.
And they do this right here, which I loved, where he's like, hello, Commissioner, how's things? Commissioner, hello? Anybody home? It has this, I just wrecked your mind, but very innocent feel to it. Like, hey, are you really there, buddy? Like,
Did I break you? Yeah.
Did I break you? Are you there? And it was really fantastic. And then as we keep going, you have the Red Hood, the creation.
The flashback scenes, I think, were really well done.
And then, of course, the iconic shot of the
this was probably my biggest issue with the movie.
I did not like that scene. I did not like that shot.
Because most of the flashbacks were faded colors, but there was one scene that really needed to be bright and out there, and that was this. And it wasn't. It was still faded color.
My big complaint with this is it wasn't. You could tell it wasn't traditionally animated. This was very digitally 3D done right here, and I really wish it would have been,
because it's such an iconic.
It's such an iconic shot, and they do of course, the build to the laugh was perfect, but this right here was done very 3D animated, and I didn't feel like it fit well with it. They did a lot of 3D animation, but at the same time, that kind of fit with certain things. But this, it really should have been, flat 2D animation.
Don't want to go too much into a lot, like the fight at the end and everything. But
the fight was actually done pretty much.
The joke is in there at the end, and the one thing that everybody was really curious about was which version of the ending were they going to do the controversial Batman snaps Joker's neck ending.
Oh, I was going to talk about the fight a little bit because it takes place in a room that's actually upside down.
Upside down, and
everything was
made up to be his old apartment.
It's made to look like his old apartment where it all really started. And so you have the Joker literally going directly to his past, where it all began for him, and that's the whole point.
And it's upside down.
That's the whole point for him, is one bad day can change it all. And so then when you get into that, he's in his old apartment, and it is turned upside down, showing his life is turned completely upside down, and he is no different. He's trying to show that he's no different than anyone else. That's the whole point of everything. And so with this upside down room and this fight, and they did such a crazy job with him grabbing stuff that was just like he wasn't looking, and it was just like he knows it. And it made me think of him thinking like he's thought of that apartment every day of his life.
Yeah. And
he knows where everything is. And so he doesn't even have to look to grab some of the stuff he was throwing in that man. And so then, of course, that leads directly into them going out, ending up outside, and Batman addressing the Joker, saying,
he's trying to say, "Hey,
listen, I can
rehabilitate you. We can, we don't have to kill each other.
We can work together. We can make this better."
Joker does of course deny,
and he does.
He does make the joke.
He does make the joke.
Which, read the book, watch the movie.
It's funny. This situation, it reminds me of a joke. You want to hear it? There's these two lunatics in an asylum. One night, they decide they don't want to live there anymore. So they get up to the roof. And there, just across this narrow gap, they see the rooftops of the town stretching away in the moonlight, stretching away to freedom. The first guy, he jumps right across, no problem. But his friend didn't want to jump. You see, he's afraid of falling. So then the first guy has an idea. He says, "Hey, I have my flashlight with me. I'll shine it across the gap between the buildings. You can walk along the beam and join me." But the second guy just shakes his head. He says, "What do you think I am? Crazy? You turn it off when I was halfway across."
They did a really fantastic job because
And
they
it
actually
makes
have
sense.
they have the Joker pacing back and forth like he's, and Bruce is just standing there.
What do you think I am? Crazy?
And so it felt really personal in a way. Like it just, like you could really see these two were at a point of, all right, this is it.
And they did go with the book ending.
Yes.
Batman does not snap Joker's neck.
They don't say or indicate that he did, but it does happen in such a way that if you do believe in that ending, you can have that be your version, because it does have the Joker laughing, and then of course Bruce starts laughing, and he does put his hands on his chest,
His shoulders,
and then
chest.
they kind of pan out, and then you stop hearing the Joker laugh.
You stop
but-
hearing the Joker left. There's no music. I really go.
No, there was just the
music.
rain. There was just the rain.
Just the rain, yeah.
But the most important part of that is the Joker's laugh ended, but Batman kept laughing, and he kept laughing, and then it was just rain. So you don't hear anything. But if you want to believe either of the endings, to where it's just like, all right, this is it, I'm taking the end.
Now, don't turn the DVD off once the credits start, because there is a mid-credit scene, which we will not spoil for you people.
Yes, it was. It
it's
was
pretty
really cool.
I'm not sure if it's going to lead into the next movie, or if it's just say, hey, here's the this person's ending or beginning, however you want to look at it.
Okay.
So, Killing Joke movie. Again, I would have liked it to stay a lot more true to the comic, like The Dark Knight Returns did. I would have liked to have seen the animation a lot closer to the book, like The Dark Knight Returns did.
My thing with that actually is the way I wanted to see it for a long time, which I would rather it be closer to the comic. But if it wasn't going to be that, I wanted to see full-on Bruce Timm version.
Yeah, that would have been cool to see.
I would have loved to have seen 90s animated comic
And Bruce
version
Timm was
of
involved
that.
in the
He was
storyline.
involved,
He was
and he
involved
was
in the
very
storyline.
involved in the whole thing. He was there even during the voice recordings
The
and
voice
all that.
casting was amazing. The voice casting is why I'm giving this such a high rating. Because
You're not going to get a better reading than this.
no,
You could literally, if you were to sit and read the comic and even put that in and read along and then also watch, you're going to hear the voices that
yeah.
almost every
now
single
you
person.
have, while reading the book, now you have the song in your head.
Yes,
Should
that
go.
as well. Well,
So,
I said before credits were even done that I'm never going to read this book ever the same.
And to just give you an idea, The Dark Knight Returns, I don't think we ever did we never did a review for that. I gave that a 10 because it was so, for volume 1 and 2, or if you got the deluxe edition, it's one movie, a 10. This I'm giving a 9. So, your rating? 1 to 10?
Well, I loved all the extra stuff. I loved, not even talking about the voice recording and all that stuff.
Oh, it's just a movie
But
itself.
the movie itself, with the extra Batgirl stuff, with the voice acting, with even just the animation, I do believe that I'm gonna give it a 9.5. So
Check it out again. Available for digital download now. Available on Blu-ray DVD next Tuesday. Check it out. Batman: The Killing Joke. Batman vs Superman. Dawn of Justice Special Ultimate Edition is coming up next.
no, still Mark.
You have one
to warn those of you watching. What you are about to see is very graphic.
Hello, Gotham City. We're the Maniacs, and I'm Jerome, the shot caller of our little gang. We're here to spread the message of wisdom and some people have no manners. You're all prisoners. What you call sanity, it's just a prison in your mind that stops you from seeing that you're just tiny little cogs in a giant, absurd machine. Wake up! Why be a cog? Be free! I gotta say, just time to go. Don't worry, we'll be back very soon. Hang on to your hats, folks, because you ain't seen nothing yet.